So for this course, we are going to need to install a virtual machine, and we're going to need to use some files from the textbook in order to complete the lab. So lots of hands-on labs in this course, and it's important to make sure you can get these files. Because the files are so large, I can't put them in Blackboard for you to download them, so you have to download them directly from the publisher. And the publisher makes them available to us through an FTP site. So in order to access them, you have to be able to use FTP. So one free client in Windows is FileZilla. There are also free clients for FTP available on a Mac if you're using a Mac. I recommend, though, that you use Windows for this course because everything is for Windows. All the instructions are for Windows. So I just use Bing. I wouldn't normally recommend using Bing, but I just did a search in Bing because it's on, everybody has it as the default in Windows. I just did a quick search for FileZilla. First one that comes up, the FileZilla official website. This is a free FTP client. I'm going to click on download. And I'm going to click to download the FileZilla FTP client. So you want to make sure you get the client, not the server. Also, make sure you take a look. If you do not have a 64-bit OS on your computer, make sure you get the 32-bit version. Of course, I have 64-bit on this computer. You do not need Pro. You just need the basic FileZilla, the one on the right-hand side. All this other stuff we're not going to need. So just click download. And I'm going to save it. And by default, it'll save in your downloaded files. All right, it's been downloaded. I'm just going to click on Open Folder. And the folder comes up. Here it is right here. Sorry about all the other junk in here. It's in my Downloads folder. But I'm just going to right-click on it. You don't have to do this, but I always recommend run as administrator. You could just open it, and it'll probably work fine. So let's go ahead and open it. I'm going to run as the current user just to see if it works. I'm sure most of you will just use the current user. All right, so we have to agree to the license just like anything else we install, right? Nobody ever reads these, but we click agree. And then we wait. All right, I am going to allow only for me. So as far as these options, you can load the shell extension if you want, desktop icon if you want to be able to click on it from the desktop. I'm just going to take the defaults here. I'm going to leave the default destination folder. You can change it if you like to use something else. If you're not sure what this is, leave it the way it is because it's pretty typical. Program files in Windows is normally where we put this kind of stuff. So we'll click next. This is what it's called. It's what it's going to be when you search for it in your when you click the start button. Well, I don't know that we want this. I wonder if we uncheck this. I'm going to uncheck this so hopefully it doesn't install this search offer or whatever it is. It's like anything. There's no such thing as a free lunch. There's always extra stuff they try to give you. Yeah, it looks like that works. So unchecking that checkbox will prevent it from installing a bunch of junk that you don't need. So that's it. So it's finished installing. I'm going to leave this set to start FileZilla now. Obviously, when you want to use FileZilla, you'll start it just like any other program in Windows. All right, so I'm in FileZilla. Let me just make this a little smaller just in case so you can see it. There we go. All right, I'm going to close this window behind it. We'll minimize this. So now I just have FileZilla open. So in FileZilla, you could just put the host name, the username and password, and then click Quick Connect. That will certainly work, but I like to set up a new site. So I'm going to go to File, Site Manager. I'm going to do a new site. I'm going to call it Cengage. So for the host name, so where am I getting this stuff? I'm going to post this document in Blackboard, but this is the FTP site, the user ID, and the password that we're going to use to access Cengage. So I'm just going to put that in here. So the only part that I need is the part that says FTP. You don't need to put the FTP : / on it. All right, so encryption. We're going to use plain old FTP, so no encryption. They don't have this encrypted. We're going to use normal login type. The username Not entirely sure why, but it's chapter 10. And the password, all this stuff that was in the text file, you can't see it because it blocks it out. But let's, so now I've got all this stuff in here. Let me hit click connect and see if it works. We're going to say go ahead and save password because I don't care. And there we go. So on the right-hand side, right, under remote site, these are a bunch of folders. And when you click on these folders, you should see files below. For example, when I click on chapter 1, I've got a GFCI datacar fat.dd, right? So I could download that whole file. Chapter 2 doesn't have any files. Chapter 3's got a couple files. Chapter 4 probably has some files, right? So these are all the different files that we're going to need for all the various labs that we're going to do in the course. Okay, so you want to go through and download these. Now what you could do if you wanted to, you could click on this root folder up here. If you want to download just a single file, you can right click on a single file, right? So I can go down here and I can, well, I got to click on a week that has a file. So if I wanted to download this file, I could right click on it and I can click on download. Where is it going to download? On the left side here, you have to find a place that you want it to download. By default, it'll go into your documents folder. But I don't want to do that. I want to put it somewhere else. So let me find, actually, I'll just go right into C. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it CIS 207. So now in my CIS 207 folder, I could right click and download. And you'll see down here, it's downloading the file. It gives you a percentage, right? And I can abort that if I wanted to. So I'll stop and remove it because I'm going to do this a different way. And instead, I'm going to go up here. So with CIS 207 selected, I'm going to right click and download everything. So you can see over here, it's recursively adding all the files to the queue. And then I look down here, and it's downloading all these files that we need for the course. So it'll take a long time for all this stuff to download. I'm just going to give it a minute here so you can see it going. So you can see this one's at 7%, right? So just go ahead and start these, let them download, and then we'll have our files for the labs. And if you have any questions on how to get these files, just let me know. Thank you.